Okay, so guys, I think we're live here. So Big Bear just surged as high as 18% today with our $8 price target. That's a huge day. Now, if you guys got into Stockmate in our recent sale where you're going to be eligible to get Stockmate completely free if Big Bear AI hits $8 per share, you're probably feeling good, pretty good right now if you took advantage of that sale earlier. Now, we just wrapped up our daily live trading session, and honestly, we haven't traded too much in the last 2 days, just holding, kind of staying patient, letting the positions play out. And if you ever want to join us in each live trading session, our 4th of July sale, it's kind of running, it's just extending for not long of what our current sale is. Prices will be going up, and we're only having that lifetime access in limited windows. So that sale is closing. And so just make sure to check the second link in the description if you would like to join us in our daily sessions. Now, let's jump into Big Bear. Let's break it down. So 13.38% today. Huge day so far for Big Bear. It continues to rally and surge. We kind of were looking for a pullback, which we did get. So yesterday we got to see this pullback kick in, sold down to almost 620 and kind of started this new trend. So a couple things. Things move fast when you get the breakouts. For the longest time, we saw this steady increase. And we started covering it back in October, and we got to see this first trend play out. One thing to note, when we get into the hyper trend, excuse me, when we get into the hyper trend, the biggest thing is that there's new patterns that develop. And the first pattern, when you start to see that market cap build, it's very gradual. Now we're getting into this point now where as we've broken out above these levels and we see this new big surge, some might say, oh, it's done, like it's way overextended. And we do look for pullbacks, don't get me wrong. But now we see this new trend starting to develop. This is a hyper bull trend. You can see this previous resistance and kind of acting as a support there, right there. So this is now the new trend that we're seeing develop. Now, it could still push that $8 price target. It's possible that it pushes it today, but it already pushed it up to 785. So within 15 cents, this is actually really exciting because whenever I have call options on companies and I'm going to win big potentially, what we'll do is these sales with Stockmate where you can see our daily live trading. And if it hits that price target, I make a lot of money, and it's like we can afford to offer Stockmate to you for free and like get you your t-shirt and everything else. And so every time we've done that sale, like it's come close. Sometimes it hasn't been close. Sometimes it's been very, very close. This is by far the closest it's ever been. $7.85. So we got this resistance level at $7.85 or $8, we should say. Potential pullback, if we see a conservative approach and not just a hyperbole continuation, could be down to this $7 range. To see a support level around 7.15 is a really good indicator. How do we know it's a hyper bull trend? Aside from this trend here, we do see this resistance level acting as a support. You see that? Resistance level here, acting as a support. Resistance level here, acting as a support. So now kind of like this next level, is right around here. And we're going to see, my gosh, it seems like it's really continuing that momentum. And so we love to see it. Now, BBAI was up 13.6% on news that it's started to get more traction from, which is definitely going to be their developments of their very scan. They announced an article yesterday, AI-driven forecasting, but obviously where all the eyes are the Homeland Security, the Border Protection, their Pentagon contracts, Department of Defense contracts, their DoD Joint Planning Execution community. They have a lot of even tech with a partnership with Palantir there. And what happened recently was not even like warfare, not even, I guess, Yeah, like not even like warfare stuff. It's just been this travel and trade, and this is the first hand and main reason why I invest in them personally is the biometrics and threat detection. So essentially, rather than having a TSA agent do all of the work and be able to know what's going on with every single person that passes through, what are you able to do? Um, and excuse me, I'm like I have a runny nose and I'm like trying to talk, and then I'm also like doing not the best etiquette. I wish I had like a um something near me. I actually do. Still dusty right now in Northern California. We had a little bit of thunderstorms, but still kind of dry and kind of like pollen going away, but still there. So that's kind of why I got some allergies. The good old trusty shop towels, if you know, you know, the blue strong paper towels. Very scan. So the very scan essentially, rather than having someone really go through all that research, identify threats, it's AI, and then they're also making a play on not going through TSA, but actually going all the way around and going directly to the source of the gates rather than doing like the actual TSA and competing directly with Lidos. They are just having, you know, going direct to the gates and ports of entry here, and you can see where it's at there. So all these different airports. So that's been part of the reason why they've had such a surge. The financials have looked okay. We've seen a little bit of promise as they've secured more and more contracts in 2025 that most likely won't be showing up until this next quarter. From an institutional holding perspective, a lot of bullishness, a lot of increases in shareholdings from the biggest groups. It says, you know, March, late March, we were seeing entries really back mid last year and into October when we really started covering it. And then when it comes to the recent market cap, 2 billion, there's a lot of hype articles, and this is the worst. I don't know if you guys see this, but I understand. I would love for everybody to watch my videos to be millionaires, but we're never going to be like that where we're like, this is going to make you a millionaire. This is going to make you $1 million. Watch this and you'll get rich. Or even the reverse, which is the worst, is like, you will be broke if you don't buy this stock. Those videos, I get it. It's like copywriting. It grabs attention. Just doesn't come from integrity. Promise you, there's no interest in me sharing stocks to like get your emotions feeling like tomorrow you're going to be a millionaire. However, since we started covering it, this stock is tremendously up, right? So we see it up into $7.62. When we became very bullish on it was kind of in this recovery, in this trend here. Since then, it's about 120%. And then since we started covering it, it's definitely up there, about over 400%. So this company is going to be one we're going to continue to watch. And shout out to Yoga, actually, in our one of my team members, Yoga, inside of thumbnails. He's so funny. Like, he'll come out with thumbnails, and this recent thumbnail that he just dropped for this video, because like we're kind of doing well with Big Bear, you know, like a lot of people have messaged me to say that they're making very good money and things like that. And I'll have to check out the live chat. I want to see what you guys are saying, but um, he's like, he made this one, and it's like on a yacht, getting the facial recognition at a port of entry, which they actually do have the very scan. You know, they actually have it at not just airports, but at the docks as well, or the ports. So I thought that was a funny thumbnail idea. So that's great. Anyway, when it comes to kind of the near term, again, we could expect that push up to that $8 range. It is having tremendous momentum. When we're looking at the potential pullbacks in this hyper bull trend that started to develop over the last week, 2 weeks here, it's that pullback down to that $7.20 range. More conservatively, could be as low as that level in that $6 range, but that's just very conservative. You know, we're kind of in this hyper bull trend right now. It's happening And this is kind of the level at which we'd want to watch closely, that $7.25. Otherwise, we do have that target of $8. If we take a step back, and I know I just deleted a bunch of drawings, but we had this resistance level at about $8 a share. We did see it kind of stop up a little bit at $8, but it was after like a 17 or 18% increase. And then that $10.50 range up here would be a continuation of about 30% to the near term. So upside still there, but again, as we start to look at the long-term potential, it looks really good. The near term, you can expect insane volatility. Yesterday we had a red day, then we see a big recovery. Maybe we have a red day tomorrow. This is just part of the moves that we see while it climbs. It's part of what happens. That's why short term, it's really important to have extra caution, especially it's still $1 billion, $2 billion market cap. It does have some volatility there. So let me make sure too, I want to drop into the chat too, so I could see what it is you guys are going to be dropping in the chat there. And also just really cool kind of reminder as well. It's exciting because we're going to have this, and I've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, but we have this coming out here, which is really, really exciting. And I want to drop it here, and I want to take a look at it. I don't know if you guys know, but our Mercatus software, it's been really interesting because some of the data we had come out with Big Bear on our predictive analysis. So it basically does real time. It's been saying these targets. Now it's up into these levels, but it really, a lot of people ask me, they're like, Will, why does it just say that it's going up? Is this a glitch or something with the future price on Big Bear? And yeah, there is some stock data when we were going through beta. It's still happening actually with some of, as the markets develop, and just for compute as well, we're kind of keeping it lean. But yeah, with Big Bear, it wasn't like that. It was much more using real data, and a lot of the analysis for the future price has been super right. And I just wanted to kind of shout it out because it's a software we've been working on for a while. It's going to change the way, it's revolutionizing the way that people are investing, because it's going to have future-based analysis based on the best predictive AIs that come out. In this case, it's OpenAI here, and it uses all real-time data to go fetch those levels, look at the financials, look at the news. And I just wanted to say it's exciting to see some of the accuracy play into this. So I'm excited for more back testing as well as we continue to roll out the beta for Mercatus. So super exciting stuff. And let me pull up this live chat here. I'm coming, guys. I want to take a look at the live chat. Just got to go through some really cool, exciting things here. All right, that thumbnail that we have on this video is so funny. Oh my gosh. I'm actually laughing at that thumbnail. Shout out to Yoga. We have an amazing team. Emily, shout out to Emily. If you guys join StockMate, you ever get a call from Emily, she's really good at what she does and making sure people get everything they need in StockMate. Does Mercatus explain when to sell a stock? More or less. It actually has essentially it's predictive future-based analysis. So the chart will go red if it's indicating sentiment that would be bearish. So as far as the execution, it does all of the research. It does the charting specifically to the time frame. So every time frame is going to have different analysis, and every time frame is going to be different. You're going to have the next hour versus, and that might have more technical, or next 4 hours more technical, and then things start to become more fundamental as you look longer term out and things like that. So it's like, will it be based on exactly when to buy, when to sell? That's not what my job is. I would love that to be kind of the end goal, but I don't know that I believe in like algorithmic trading or things like that. What I mostly want is to give you a tool that does the financial analysis, does the technicals, does the news all real time, and it can do it for you, so you don't have to do all that, because it's kind of a headache. You do that, then you build your watch list, you go through again, then you build your watch list, you go through again, and you rinse and you repeat, and you do that with every stock. And anytime something new comes out, you got to do it again. I like analysis. It's very fun, and it's something that I enjoy doing. But there are a lot of times where it can become repetitive in doing that analysis over and over. Cool. Yeah. So Anne says I made $54,000 with 30 days, all from BBAI. I looked very closely at the risk, but I looked very closely. And is that Annie? That is Annie and Stockmate? They were working together? Is that Annie from Hong Kong? Harry style, do you think it will end up just like the past because no pullback? No, I would say like there are strong resistance levels. Like there's an $8 resistance level. Now is actually one of the most dangerous times for Big Bear. Like when we were covering it back here and we saw this gradual market cap increase, and we were just kind of like seeing the pulls and adding to our position and adding in dollar cost averaging into Big Bear, was actually like the least risky time, because the last thing that we really want for it, and I love that it gets more eyeballs, and of course, where value is, there's going to be credit that is due. But when you look at Big Bear from, like, let's just take a look at the news. Like we said, it's like, is BigBear.AI your ticket to becoming a millionaire? Or all these bogusly, I wouldn't say bogus, but incongruently in their values. Most of these companies say that one day, and then the next day they say like sell before it's too late. So it's like, that's the part about investing in AI companies, where sometimes there's just way more of a increase of hype. And I love to see Big Bear go up, of course. Like we cover it all the time, and we have, a very good focus on it. $2.80 entry back here, it's of course. But when it comes to like when it becomes most dangerous, it's when you have the hype and everything kick in, because that's when you do see massive retail pump for a second, and then institutions say, oh, we're fine, if this takes 5 years, and they boom, sell big share to like drive it down and then buy back. It happens all the time. I mean, that happens time and time again. Now that's like basically the more hype there is, the stronger the manipulation will be, basically. So, you don't want that to really happen so much. Okay, and says, no, I live in South, either Canada or California. I'm not really sure. I live in Northern California. Awesome, and happy to have you here. What's BBAI support? Yeah, we kind of went over that. So honestly, next support level would be the previous resistance level at about $7.20. And then we got some people saying, I'm excited. CTM's moving. CTM is moving. Yeah, it's up 9%. We got some positions. I actually added to my position a little bit more today. I wasn't going to trade more, but I actually added to my position even more this morning. And we see a 9% move, kind of getting back into this resistance. Now, let's not forget, it's making that move up into here, which we've seen time and time again. We've traded this quite often. That's why we continued to cover it. And that financially things have looked good. But Harry says, I think it's a better opportunity to CTM. I personally, I see what you're saying. The biggest issue with CTM, while I love to cover it, I see they have the contracts the financials, like for the most part, are really good. Like they see quarterly revenues very well, holding at that level of around 10 to 12 million dollars a quarter. The biggest issue with CTM, and I'll tell you what it is. The biggest issue is the real world, first hand, change the way you chew gum impact. So what I mean is, like, when it comes to investing, most people will look at a market and say, because this market's growing, there's so much, financials look good and the profits look good and what have you, I'm going to buy into it. Now, maybe that can work, but the next level that actually makes you a good investor, like, or a great investor, like that makes you a good investor, to actually look at the financials. If you're not a good investor, you're probably not looking at the financials at all. And like I've seen it before. No problem. It's like it's a beginner thing. I used to do it all the time, but like when I first started. But people comment a ticker symbol and like, this stock's going crazy, and we look at the financials and immediately we don't even have to look at the stock, right? So the thing that makes a good investor is someone that looks at the financials. The thing that makes a great investor is someone that recognizes the market impact. So the real world usage. And so with Big Bear, for example, part of why I like it is because of that big brother type of thing, right? So like this scanner, I've personally gotten scanned, and like I know I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it when I went to a conference for the space tech conference when we got to see Rocket Lab and Lockheed Martin and Black Sky and Redwire, all those companies firsthand. We got a media pass from SpaceX for free. That was really cool. When we did that conference and I was flying out there to Colorado, Denver, and then taking an Uber to Colorado Springs, which was also really cool. Got to have some good Uber talks. Even did a live session on the Uber, which was funny. And when we were flying there and I got in, what we had was Big Bear scanning me at the entries and the exits. And then I was like, I'm seeing it firsthand at Denver. And I used to live in Boulder for 2 years too, when I moved from California to Boulder. I don't know if I saw it in Miami when we were there for a little bit, but basically when we went to that conference, I saw it firsthand. That's that market validation. So when you look at, for example, CTM and the financials look great, and we see some of their contracts in the hundreds of millions of dollars, like that's really good for a company under $100 million market cap. That's amazing. But what's the biggest problem is that, gosh, can we see that firsthand usage? Can I see that? Can I see the technology somewhere being used that is so impactful in the market that it's market shifting? Not yet. And so that's why I don't think BBAI CTM would be a better long-term or better value to enter than Big Bear, because of they don't have the real evidence that I can personally see. It's not they don't have it, that I can personally see. So that's one of the problems I'd say that is super, super, super common. Right, so that's what I would say for that one. Some great comments in the live chat there. You got Tennis says, being a beginner, what value to enter? It depends on your plan. If you're long term, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, kind of. Buy the dips, I guess. But like if you're dollar cost averaging, doesn't matter, right? Can continue. Good morning, Michael. Michael says, good morning. What's up, Michael? I love when Danny's like, hit that like button, everybody. Let's go. Yeah, if this video gets 400 likes, we will do a StockMate daily live trading session on YouTube for free. So we'll actually hit public on it. So you can get one live session on StockMate for free there. And if you guys do want to join the daily live sessions, again, it's the second link down below. So BBAI continues to run 15.5%. We see some of it, some of the movement. I mean, there was just a recent smaller position we took on BBAI. It's up 49%. Black Sky, 53%. Black Sky's the other one that we've been watching really closely. And that's just in the last like 3 months. Why is that? Yanis says, what's BBAI support? We went over that. So again, it's about $7.20. If it's going to continue this hyper bull trend that we see play out, where it continues to push up, previous resistance acts as a support. See it push up. Previous resistance acts as a support. We just saw it push up to 785, and now the previous resistance there at about $7.20, maybe 7.25, would now act as that support. How do you approach stocks like Black Sky Technology that has a promising business but low average trading volume? I don't look at trading volume for medium-term trades. I just look at value. On the short term, like if we're definitely, sometimes we look at the volume kicking in. But to answer your question, how do you approach stocks? It's really just going to come down to three things. The first thing is going to be your market that you choose. So in this case, we're looking at AI and defense for BBAI. If you looked at Black Sky, you're looking at space tech. So generally speaking, this is a very fast growing market. There's a lot of reasons why, but the revenues are increasing, the profits are increasing. Space tech is on a golden age era right now where we haven't seen advancements in space tech like ever before. It's a market that is becoming a very fast growing market. So from a market perspective, that's the profit. Now, what about that second piece that we just talked about with the market? Real world usage. So when you look at Black Sky, one thing to note on Black Sky is that they work with Rocket Lab. Now, personally, I've seen Rocket Lab. One of my best friends, who I just saw this past weekend, works at Rocket Lab. So I get a lot of that firsthand. I also live in California, and they have Long Beach as well there, where they have their headquarters, or not headquarters, but their main spot. I don't know if it's their headquarters actually. And so I see it firsthand. And then Space Black Sky, when you look at their tech, I got to see it firsthand. I went to the conferences. I got to talk with their people, see what type of satellites they have. But on top of that, when you look at the news from Rocket Lab, so we know it's a real world company. I've seen it. Like I know it's real, right? We look at the missions that they launched, and they recently launched a mission with Rocket Lab. So we know their Gen 3 satellites are going into space. So that's the market side, right? So then we get into the analysis. The analysis is broken down to A, analysis of the chart, B is the financials, and C is going to be the news. And then, so when it comes to the news on Black Sky, you got new contracts. You could take a look at their press releases. It seems like every other month they have these new contracts. Order value 24 million there. The Gen 3 satellites they're launching, really good news. The other contracts they've had, multi-million-dollar defense. They have multi-year contracts, 8 figures. These are not small contracts. $100 million contract there with a defense sector customer, $200 million Luno. So you see the contracts, right? So that's the news. It looks pretty good. You see they're launching their missions. Now, B that you go through, at least for me, is going to be the financials. They're $629 million market cap, and their recent movement in their quarterly revenues have been increasing. You see how their quarterly revenues increasing, while their net income seems to be doing better. See how that net income, that orange, is getting smaller for the most part. It's had some volatility, but it's getting smaller. Their revenue's at an all-time high, so they're increasing their profits. From a balance sheet perspective, we see their total assets volatile, but for the most part, steadily increasing. And their total liabilities are up a little bit, which is common for a space company. But you see them continue to get contracts, so things look good. So from a financial perspective, it's good. Then you get into C, which is the financial. You go from the financials to the chart. And when we look at Black Sky here, BBAI still continue to find some momentum up to 15.4%. You go BKSY, and you look at the chart. And part of why we bought here, we recently bought down around $10 a share, and we're up about 53%, was because we saw this sell-off after IPO, and then they were consolidating. So consolidating from left to right, finding support resistance for the most part, and they were starting, while they were holding below that 200-day moving average, that green line, when they're above it, they're bullish. So a good example, see this EMA, this blue line? So we see them pushing up above the blue line, bullish. When they cross below, they're bearish. So we go through it all, and this is where we get to step number 3, which is the margin for profit, the potential. And basically, when we made this trade, we were looking at this support, breaking above this support here, finding not below the EMA, but pushing above the EMA, getting some more confirmation here. And we identified the value here. So if they're at the support here, and they notoriously consolidated from left to right, then we're looking at a margin for profit of about 100% margins with lower risk. Now we ended up entering later. We didn't get into a little bit later here. We waited for more confirmation. So where we entered was 53%. So we entered right here, just right around here. And so we started to see this swing take place. We got in. It's continuing to surge on a lot of reasons, all those probabilities we went up to. And now we see it up here. And that's how we get the payoff of that move. So that is how we approach stock trading. Now, how you enter and how you actually execute the trade and how you make a plan together for whether it's the long term or the short term, there is nuance, there is strategy that goes into it. And so, I mean, that's the execution. But leading up to it, there's a lot of power. I wouldn't say all of it. Almost all of it will come down to your execution of your plan. But for the most part, it comes to that that approach to identifying the value. I think it's Warren Buffett who spends like months and months and months and months looking at a stock and then doesn't pull the trigger until it's been months or whatever. Like he'll spend a really long time. And we kind of approach it the same. And then once we do it, we like to do short term too. So we do short term trading as well. It's very common that once we find a company intrinsically valuable, that we'll continue to do the short term. So that is a big piece as well. And hopefully that's helpful. How many of you guys would think that you, by applying that information that I just shared with you, you would make more money if you're able to apply that strategy? You guys comment. How many of you guys think by applying that strategy, you'd make more money? You might say, well, why are you asking that? Because if you're wondering, things aren't quite working for you up until this point, I'm telling you, if you go through that 3-step analysis, things will change for you. Most people don't go through it. Most of the time, people don't go through it. So BKSY is an interesting one that we'll cover more. And part of the reason why we brought it up and why I was happy to go through it, they actually have really similar kind of setup to BigBear.AI, and that they do that surveillance, that they work on that very high def and AI driven. They could be called Black Sky AI actually, because their main thing with their whole company is that they focus on AI. So rapid decision making, and they use space-based insights with their imagery to track and see different things that are happening, to be able to identify whether it's threats, economic uncertainty, could be shipping. I mean, some of those things exist, but they do it at another level. So that's kind of why that makes sense. Cool. Yeah, so that's why we went through it. It's very similar. Now, when it comes to BBAI, and I see Michael's like, yes, I see probably, I see yes, they're working. Yes, I like that. You got some growth there on BBAI. Someone just said net inflow 36 million. So you got that happening. Your friend is telling you to sell BigBear.AI and take profit on BigBear, and you're holding it. One of the best things you could do, formulate a plan, and unless your buddy has more profits than you consistently, you probably shouldn't listen to him. If he has more profits than you consistently, then you might want to listen to him for sure. But like the number one, when it comes to listening to friends, people telling you to invest in stuff, the number one thing you want to ask yourself is like, does this person get the results that I want to get, or have the results that I would want to have? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't listen to their advice. Like, and that goes with trading as much as it does for anything else. I have this really funny story actually, where if you look at Stockmate, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. I don't know if it's there actually. I could check here. I don't know if I could like just search. Do you guys know Stockmate? So like there's this image here that we used for Stockmate. You see Bitcoin? I took this image like when Bitcoin, and I made this image when Bitcoin was at $11,000. Bradley says he's lost his life savings twice in crypto, but he's back up to 100K. Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, what teach their own. But basically with Stockmate, it's 11,000 Bitcoin. I had this uncle that used to tell me that Bitcoin was going to zero. And everybody, people tell you this all the time. And I had this other guy who I met at the gym who was a millionaire with crypto around the same time. And he told me, buy GBTC if you're in stocks. And he said, and Bitcoin's going to 100K, it's going to a million, whatever he said. So I didn't fully listen to that guy. Like I listened to him and I got some GBTC in my Charles Schwab portfolio. I was about 18 or 19 years old. It's about 7 years ago, something like that. And since then, so it must have been 2019, somewhere in here. So it was a stellar investment. It was $3 a share at the time when I got in, literally, and 1,200%, stellar investment. Now my uncle, who said that Bitcoin's going to zero when it was at 11K, and we made that image on Stockmate when it says 11,000 Bitcoin. I kind of listened to him and I was like, yeah, like it's probably good. I'm not really sure. Like, and I had a very, very, very small amount of Bitcoin. When it made its run to about 60, 70,000, it wasn't until that point that I actually started putting a large percentage of my net worth into it. So like, if you listen to somebody that doesn't have the results that you want, you're probably going to get results that you don't want. So it's really important, like who you listen to is a big key. Speaking of which, we're going to have to update some testimonials, guys, on Stockmate. If you guys ever want to join here, A to Z Blueprints, you got private group, daily live sessions with myself, and there's even a custom profit plan that you can claim. It's in the second link below. If you notice, we actually, the first thing that you get prompted to do when you join, which lifetime access is going away soon, where do we send your free t-shirt? That's right, free t-shirt is there. So if you want to grab that free t-shirt, make sure go to cash2assets.com/stockmeets, or you click the second link below. So BBAI continues to roar up to $7.67. Guys, the main thing we're going to be watching, this resistance level, I would love for it to hit $8 a share. We would be giving out Stockmate to some members for free that took advantage of the sale, which we've never been able to do. And it's because I have call options and things on Big Bear and we're up. And if it hits that target, we have that sale. So like if it hits $8, I'm actually going to be so excited. And as you can see, it's roaring up to 8. We'll see the pullback scenario is down to about $7.20, $7.25. The bullish scenario is that push up into that 8.15. And then if we get above that level, I don't know that there's a whole lot of resistance. We could take a look here. I don't know. Let's see. There is some resistance levels. So you got a resistance about $8.70. Tenant says, I just sold BBAI and I'm waiting for July 9th. All right. Hey, all power to you, man. Personally, I totally get it. When it comes to your plan, that's the most important thing, right? If you have a short-term play and you're up, no one went broke locking in profits. For sure. Now, if you're on a trade and it's still within, or in the long term and it's still within the range at which you'd want to continue to see those profits and potentially take on the ability of having some more of facing some more risk there, you have that ability, then by all means, whatever the plan is you have, as long as you consistently execute it, I have no doubt you could be successful in what you do, man. That's my response when someone says I just sold. Way too long, right? It's so funny. So if we see it push up into those levels 865, we're talking about a 12% surge in that 850 range. So that's the hyperbole case. If it doesn't pull down to that 620 or 725, excuse me, the next target kind of would be, there is actually a previous support there though, right here, previous resistance and support at 815. So we could watch that level if it continues to run. If I was like, let's say I was trading it and looking for that 12% swing right now on a short-term trade, I'd probably have my stop somewhere around that like $7.25 range. But even then, I don't know if the margins could make sense actually. It could make sense. I don't know if it's the most favorable. You're talking about a 5% sell down. So you'd really want a minimum of about 25%. So that would be, if you're targeting like $9.50 or higher, which is very bullish, then that risk of the 5% down to the previous support that you could hold out on would be potentially worth it. Otherwise, it's more of just like a long-term value add or keeping a short-term trade in, just going for 10%, cutting, let's say, stop somewhere in there. When it gives you that potential for entry, that would make a lot of sense. Steven says, that's the end of July. I thought all tariffs end date on July 7th. We could take a look there. Steven says, hey, I'm cash poor, but stock rich. For me, it's a problem. I think it's great to refer to being, if you don't have money, not as poor, but as broke. Because when you're poor, it's a mindset thing. When you're poor, that means you can't generate more. You don't have the money, and you won't have the money because you're poor. Poor, I believe, is more of a mindset. Broke is more of like a financial state. Broke is like when you don't have the money, but you're not poor because you're gonna make it. You're rich in many ways, and your mindset's gonna propel you forward and things like that. So I don't know if that's helpful for you, but man, I would take the time to differentiate between the two. You know, it's funny that story. This guy commented one time, and his username was something like broke mentality or something like that. It was something crazy. It was like, I am poor or something like that. And he was tuning in. He was asking me about these stocks and stuff. And I was like, dude, change your username and I'll talk to you. He changed his username to like, I am rich or something. And he sent me a message like a couple of weeks later. And he's like, I see what you mean, Will. He's like, I actually felt a lot better with that username. So there's this mental shift, right? That can definitely help. Yeah, I love that. Tom says, poor is a lifestyle, broke is a temporary setback. Yeah, I love that. How do you see Big Bear playing out to the closing bell? Yeah, time will tell. I would say um to see an $8 surge would be amazing because again, I have a target there that would be really cool to hit, because um, essentially, like, we would sell out some BBAI, and some stock meet people would be eligible if they want to claim it. Some people may or may not claim it, but for the free stock meet refund, if it hit $8 that we were running on a sale a couple days ago, which I'd be really happy to do that. So I would like to see $8 a share today. I think what could be more likely, though, is a sell back down to the $7.20 range. It was a really good spike, but you do see it's leading AI today. It's leading LLMs, basically all AI stocks. It's leading. It's surged. It did get rejected at a previous resistance around 785 there, and so it's possible that it does get rejected, sells back down to the 720. I think that would make a lot of sense. But again, it's experiencing very high volatility. So I mean, if you look on it, like, let's say you look on it like a very small time frame, it's like it's bowling up, but since that peak at 785, it's consolidated left to right a little bit. It's still holding this momentum, right? So I would watch these levels pretty closely right here. This kind of trend that's happening on the 1 minute time frame. Like, if we see this, it's possible it keeps this trend in this 1 minute time frame, and we see it make this move, this 3 to 4% move. But if it breaks here at this $7.50, $7.55 range, next support at 747, then we see 736, and if it can't hold there, we're talking 720, somewhere in here. So, it's trying to hold this. It's kind of tapered off from those gains we saw at the beginning of the day at market open this morning. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. NY says, so hopefully that helps for you, Ahsoka Beck. NY says, Will, what's your take on Webull stock? Let me know your take on Webull stock. Clayton says, I have owned a lot of Big Bear in the past month. Should I buy more? What's your opinion? I would never tell you what to buy or sell. But if you want my breakdown, feel free to check out some of the videos. Hopefully they can help you make a better decision. Heavy Hitter highlights, has your opinion on XRP changed? Do you know my opinion on XRP? Stacy R. Oh, I'm curious. What is your opinion on XRP? Don't think I've heard him talk about it. You guys, okay, so you don't know what okay, I'll go ahead and let you know. So XRP, to me, is, I think, like, the reason it would go up is because of their ability to sell it, not to actual real world usage. It's possible, but what's more than likely the reason why we've kind of seen it consolidate from left to right for the past really about year or 6-7 months is the problem is the transactions per second. They have a lot of thoughts that XRP would act as the the thing that would replace banking or what have you, but as of right now, it doesn't seem it would be able to handle the amount of transactions per second necessary that would be used in a fully fledged banking system currency. So, like, if you search current XRP transactions second, what do they say here? All right, per second? There we go. If you want to know, I mean, it basically says how many transactions per second? 1,500 transactions per second. That's how much it can handle. So why is that important to know? Well, how many transactions per second in world, I don't know, like banking? 65,000 is what needs to be handled. The average is 523, but sometimes surpasses as high as 3,700 transactions per second. But if you look at the total, like if the max for XRP is like 1,500, that's the problem. The main thing that people tell me, and this is like, I understand there's so many hype videos. Like I understand that. If I go search like XRP and we look at this, the amount of hype is insane. If I go to videos, everybody's like, this is going to blow your mind. You will be rich. Act now. Tell you what to buy. You must buy now. Whatever they're saying. Whatever they're saying. I don't know what they're saying. But listen, like, if you guys want my opinion on XRP, I could be wrong, and I'm willing to accept that. But when it comes down to the value of what they actually can do to what the marketing says they're going to handle all the banking transactions, doesn't make sense. Like I just kind of ran through. Here's what the current XRP transaction per second is. Here's what is required in the world. So it currently does not fit the bill for what would be required if it was to enter the space in which everybody's promoting it or saying that it's going to go to. Now, why would XRP go up? Because of the ability for people to sell. The CEOs, the people on social media selling it and saying, go buy it, XRP now. Everybody buy it from Instagram, from Facebook, from CNBC or whatever. So like, yeah, like that's why it would go up. I could be wrong. But again, that's that in my research, that's what I found. So I could be totally wrong. And people really don't like my take on XRP because like 90% of people are like, it's going to the moon. But I get it. It's fine. I sound upset, but I'm really not. I really appreciate the question. Thanks so much for asking it. So I'm not upset or anything. It's just the XRP. Like it's the funniness of social media and how people say buy this and you will get rich. Like that's the thing. Be wary of the so-called get rich quick schemes, guys. Like we cover BigBear.AI, and part of the reason why we continue to cover it, even when it was going down, it's going down, and everything else, is because of the long-term build of value. And it's like when we see this move, while other traders or people on YouTube might be screaming at the computer right now, saying, it's going, guys, $7.60. It's going to the moon. Get in before it's too late. Look what's happening. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. That's why we've been building this position here. And you guys are all like, maybe like even our chat isn't as like insanely hyped, even though it's up 15%. Like people are hyped and they're like, yeah, like made a ton of money or whatever. But the demeanor in which we have is much more like, oh, yes, makes sense. It's kind of like when you set a goal and you like work towards it, and when you achieve the goal, it doesn't really feel weird because you'd already seen it in your head. Not to say that we're like, we manifested this, but I mean, from like a value standpoint and what we saw, it made a lot of sense. And I say we because so much of the research that built into why we cover these stocks, a lot of it is from you guys. Yaniv says, waiting for a pullback or to break, or when to break 8. Nice, like that. Stacy says, maybe things could be different in 10 years. 100%. Yeah, like you're talking about XRP. Yeah. If XRP for sure, like if they were to build something on chain that made their transactions per second handle more, then yeah, for sure. But as of right now, with what they could handle to what's being advertised as where they would fill the gap in banking, doesn't really make sense to me. By all means, if you have another outlook on it, feel free to share it. Like I do support any outlook as far as being able to listen to it for sure. Clayton, I've been watching your videos for a while and just remembered you're not allowed to recommend stocks. I'm sorry. I'm actually like allowed to because technically it's educational purposes only. I would say like watch what I do, not what I tell you to do. or say. Like for most people, that's the way to do it. So like I have BBAI positions. I have since $2.80. We continue to cover it, and we most likely trade it fairly often in our short term and in our daily live sessions in StockMate. You could see that we have positions open, and where I'm focusing my attention usually is because we see value. It's kind of rare. So, I mean, take with that what you find to be valuable. You can just observe my actions too. Um, I don't think that like legally, I'm pretty sure I could tell you buy this because of like YouTube and like educational things. But like from a moral standpoint, it's not my goal. Does that make sense? Even if I like legally can tell you because it's like YouTube's educational or like entertainment, like it's not my goal to tell you because I would rather just give you all of the insights I can find and you give me all the insights that you could find, and then we could kind of like mastermind and then come to conclusions together on whether things are a good deal or not, rather than I'm like telling you this and you're like yeah, and you like take action on something you don't understand, versus what if you learn how to think about the stock. And not that you don't know how to learn how to think, I'm sure you know how to think, obviously, but I mean like it's always better. If it's a struggle sometimes. It is harder. It is usually harder to learn how to think, but it's kind of like how I run my company. And at the beginning, some of my employees get upset. And I say my employees, but like we're a team, right? That when I tell them something like, yeah, figure it out, or you tell me, what do you think? They're like, you're, aren't you like my boss? Like, are you supposed to tell me, like, tell me what to do? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, the goal is to get to here. Like, what do you think? And I'm very much like that because most likely, I mean, I could have the best answer, but most likely you'll get a better answer by like challenging each other and like seeing how the other people think. And also, it just makes you better. So like you will get way more value from my channel if I give you information. I'll show you what I'm doing for sure, but you learn how to think for yourself. You get way more value than me telling you what to buy. Way more value. You might not like it. Like again, it's challenging. People are like, "Come on, Will, just tell me what to buy." I get it. And sometimes if there's like sometimes there's instances where like if I'm working with a one-on-one client or something, I'll say, I'm buying this is what I'm doing, you know, take with that what you like, and they'll maybe do some of the same investments for sure, like that happens. But again, you'll get so much more value learning how to think than being told what to do. Trust me. Trust me. Or don't. But I have no desire to like change your mind on that. So yeah. All right. And yeah, I mean, no, it's not like go watch another channel. Well, you can always watch another channel too. Like I tell people that too. Like if you're looking for what to buy, okay, let's do a little test here. Is this weird? I don't want to be like, it's not meant to be cocky or anything, because like I feel like it's almost a weird, it's a really weird situation. But if I search BBAI stock, if we aren't the first person, which we aren't, um, this is about to shock. It's a money wave. There we are. That's epic. This is big for Wednesday. This is urgent. You must buy. Warning. And this is like the projection of what's going to happen. Entry up. This is your entry. This is a once in a lifetime. Like buy before it's too late. Like I like this, digging into the numbers. There we go. We got some epic. They won't tell you this. I'm fine with that. I like that. BBAI. But you guys see what I'm saying, right? Like it's the buy now. It's going to this price soon. It's possible that they could be accurate, but more times than not, buy signals and things like that are not going to be your way. You know, I could be way more like I could have a perspective that's aggressive on it, but that's how I approach it. I just like don't listen to the hype. Like go directly to the source, get the info. That's the way I think about it. What new information do we have on Big Bear? You know, I mean, that's we got some new confirmation of their new contracts, which is good. Will make you rich if you listen to him make strategy. Oh man, awesome. Hey man, I think that's true. Is like strategy is a big deal for sure. Yeah, yeah. And it's like people start posting when it's going up. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we were posting when it was going down for sure. You know, one of the best videos that we had was when the quantum market sold off like crazy, right? And we were like, why? Why is the quantum market selling off? And it was this crash. And rather than be like, all right, that's it for quantum, we went to the events where the announcement was made. We flew out and got the information ourselves that wasn't documented online. And then we're able to come up with a conclusion that there was still a large amount of value creation and share that information with the world. It was one of our most popular videos. And it was just because of the information, not because we were just following the hype. You know, it's like, what can we find out? Um, how about USAR? It appears there are two rare earth miners in the USA on the stock market. I think there's a lot more than that, Balder. I think there's a lot more than two. Um, okay, MP is one and USAR is the other. There's definitely a lot more than two. But you're looking for an analysis. They start digging later this year. Minerals, real estate, stocks, and crypto are like one of my favorite assets to watch. So like I like looking into those mining companies. I don't know if it's a stereotype, but most of the time when I look at mining companies, there's like a ton of pump and dumps and stuff. I don't know why. I've yet to find like a very smaller cap, like there's bigger ones, but like smaller cap, intrinsically valuable mining companies that haven't been pumped. Is that just me? Or do you guys feel like a lot of mining companies that you find are like pumped and they're like getting manipulated? But let's take a look at it. I'm actually totally cool to look at that real quick. We take a look at miners. I'm actually going to create a new watch list for minerals. Whoop. Minerals. And what's it called? USAR. USA Rare Earth. Okay, they just IPO'd recently. They've had some volatility. Let's take a look at them. Just under $1 billion market cap. PE ratio is actually very favorable there, just at 21, which is pretty good. Net income. Are they not having revenues or something? Total assets, holding financials look okay. There's nothing there that show. But I do know that, I don't know, do you guys know this? That mining companies, even Bitcoin mining, but like really any type of mining, could be literal physical mining companies, usually have total liabilities surge in the early stages because they got to get all like the infrastructure for building it. And I don't know also what their main thing is. Yeah, so rare earth materials. They have 30 employees with $1 billion valuation. They have the right total assets. Total assets look really good, for sure. Total assets have risen more than their total liabilities. But in 2025, they came out with a large liability influx. So financials don't really look that favorable. Chart looks extremely volatile and just IPO'd recently. And usually the biggest sell-offs can occur just after IPO. I wouldn't touch it personally. But if you have any like insights into why, I'd be more than happy to take a deeper look at it for sure. Wow, you guys dropped a bunch of mining companies in the chat. There's like 10 to look at. Wow. Oh, big hello from Denver, from Ahsoka. Yeah, I used to live in Louisville, there, just outside Boulder, base of the Rocky Mountains. Really beautiful place to live. I always miss it. It's very nice. The only complaint I had was that we had to have a humidifier because it was so dry. But other than that, it was a beautiful place. What do you think, Tammy? Did you like living in Boulder? That's funny. Yeah, guys, you got a ton of mining stocks that you dropped. So you want me to add these to the list? While we're here, why don't we? Why don't we add these to the list? And we could take a look. Marine exploration, like underwater mining, is pretty insane. Is it? It's not TMC. Oh, it is TMC. Is it Plug? Is that like a real one? I don't know what that is, but we'll take a look. And then ORRCF. Don't see it. And then NL. I don't know what that is, but hey, we'll take a look at them. Speaking of quantum, take a look at QUBT, or what's your take on QUBT? You're asking me. Yeah, I don't cover that one. I really like Rigetti. I have long-term positions. I got my dad into Rigetti very early. It's one of his best performing stocks, actually. And I live in California, so I'm near some of these companies. I like the quantum computing space. I think it's going to be good long term. A lot of volatility near term, but I love it. We cover it a lot. When it comes to QUBT, has it not been like seriously pumped? All right, let me give it one more chance. Let me give it one more chance. Let's take a look. $3 billion market cap. It's the financials, guys. It's the financials. I'm sorry. The net income is about negative. Oh no, they came in with a positive net income influx of capital, but annually negative net income of 70 million, increasingly negative on the net income. The balance sheet has seen increases of total assets, which actually looks really good. They got a lot of like closing a private common stock offerings. You got they're in the conversation. Is there something specifically about them that gets your attention? Because the financials don't look favorable yet. 46 employees and a $3 billion valuation. What is going on there? Like that's the question. When we take a look at it, they have this 3D rendering of a quantum computer, whom we work with. They're partnered with NASA, Los Alamos. Hey, this looks a little better. I like to see that. All right. Am I being way too bearish on this company? All right. A lot of 3D stuff. I'd like to see actual real world product pictures, not just 3D. Is that real? All right, I'm gonna have to go deeper. I'm gonna have to go deeper because what we might end up doing is just visiting the company potentially and taking a look. So they got quantum physics, quantum optics, hardware, firmware, software development. That makes sense. Yeah, but do they really have 40 employees though? Because I don't think they can do all those industries and all those things if they have 40 employees and they're doing quantum computing. For them to be a $3 billion company, I'm too skeptical now. I'm sorry. Somebody comments, let me know like really the real hard facts on QUBT. Oh wow, okay. So some people say Algan de Espastan. I don't know what that is. Is that like Spain? That's a different type of Spanish. Is that like a Brazilian? I actually would say yo hablo español, show, because my wife is from Argentina, so I speak with the Y as sh. Like tortilla is not tortilla. In Argentina, it's tortilla. All right. Some really good stuff from you guys. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Thanks so much for tuning in. Such a great time. We got to cover BBAI today. It's been running up about 15%, which was huge. And one last overview on BigBear.AI. For the targets on the near term, what we have going here, looks like it reached that $7.50. It did pull down a little bit, so we could take a look. Did that chart that we were kind of looking at in the 1 minute, it did break pattern, so we were talking about that. We said, hey, if it breaks here, maybe we see that 740, maybe we even see that 720, so we got to watch there. There is a support here, right? So it's the next level of support that it's at right now where it potentially could bounce. But then the next level of support is at about 737. And if not, then we're seeing a sell down to previous resistance, which is pretty normal in the hyperbull trend. More conservatively would be about $6.60, which we'll be watching. Really happy to see long-term positions going well, that a lot of investors were able to generate a large return today. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. If I hit the like, or if I earned the like button, go ahead and hit it. If you guys want to join us in our daily live trading session tomorrow morning, it's happening at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then the market will be closed on Friday, but we'll be there tomorrow morning if you want to join in. And also get a free t-shirt sent to you anywhere in the world. So look forward to seeing you there. We also got some good targets coming out for next week inside of StockMate. If you want to surround yourself with other like-minded individuals, David's always coming in with some really great stuff. He said that since joining, like he's joined a little while ago, he just came out with this an hour ago, just hit a milestone today. It took 4 months. I'm going to read this, David. Hopefully, I don't know if you're tuned in. 4 months and 8 days, but I've doubled my money so far in my portfolio on Robinhood. I invested a total of $14,000, and today my portfolio went up as high as $28,000. I know it will go down in value and up in value, but I have long-term, medium-term, and short-term plans, and I'm sticking to in order to really blow up my net worth and create more opportunities to generate consistent revenue month after month with day trading, position trading, leaps options, contracts, long-term investments, so I can quit my job at Amazon. Thanks, Will Rich, for everything. Much appreciated. David's actually a one-on-one client too, so I actually work with David consistently. We've also had some calls that we've done one-on-one. And it was funny. When I was talking to him, he was in StockMate. I told him, David, you don't need me. I said, David, it sounds like you're on the right track. Your portfolio is going to grow. He told me all the things he was doing. And I said, it sounds like you're on the right track. And then he went, yeah, but I want to work with you one-on-one. I said, let's do it. So then we did some one-on-one consulting. We have that going, and shout out to David. You know, there's also some really nice things happening here. I love to see some of the coverage you guys have inside of StockMe. If you ever want to, get a breakdown from people, there's a lot of stuff. Like right here, Lawrence says, 6 months ago, I started watching Will's YouTube videos along with a host of others. After a few months, I began to realize the things I was learning from him were fitting into my trading plan quite nicely and improving my trades. Will had a different approach. He wasn't hyping stocks, not saying if you buy this stock, you will be a millionaire, which when I was younger, I would tell my friends that. I don't know if you guys have seen that like in high school or like when you're a kid and you find a stock and you tell your friend and you're like, yo, if you buy this, you're going to be a millionaire. Like that's like fun play. But yeah, not doing it in videos is something. Because I would tell my friends that sometimes, right? But after several months of watching, he joined StockMate. He also got into VSTS, which is our virtual stock trading system. It's that first link. The first module, or essentially says, when I started, I felt like it was working. And then I wasn't sure. It seemed like there was no like aha moment or eureka moments or anything crazy. But he says, I just realized that I could not fly my stock plane on 80%, and he learned the 20% that had been missing. And now when he purchases stock, he's making really good returns. He's confident, and the amount of time that he put in has been cut in half, and he's confident making fewer trades and investing more money in each trade. the best part is once his stock gets into the green, he's assured the worst case scenario will be to make less gain than expected. And that's what it's all about, locking in profits. So I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the members. If you guys want to get StockMate, it's the second link below. And I share this with you so you know the impact that it has. And how do you get the shirt? Yeah, the shirt is sent to you. You get an email right after joining. You also get the email or text for the daily live session in the morning, right before it happens. So the next live trading is happening in 20 hours. And the shirt gets sent to you anywhere in the world because it's super comfortable. It's the one, I actually wear it a lot. It's not this shirt, but it's a really comfortable shirt. And it's just sent to you in an email. You can claim it with a specific coupon code for you when you enroll. So Big Bear will be watching. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Do consider subscribing. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.